Hey, welcome back everybody. So if you've seen the videos that I posted up until now, you know that we finished the Masaki route and we found out that she was very happy in the end. A lot of good things happened, a lot of hard things happened, but she had a very rich story and a very deep character development. It was really nice. I enjoyed it, especially near the end of the story. And now I'm going to go back in time, and I'm going to go through the route with Makoto, the Yakuza girl, because the friend of mine who bought this game for me wanted me to do that route very, very much. I'm not sure why. And I was like, all right, we'll do it. So let's go back in time. Return to the last choice. And return to the choice before that. And here it is. We're going to go with Didi and Makoto instead of Michiro and Misaki. Oh, and by the way, if you want to see what happened up until this point, then just go back into my videos in the playlist and start from the first video of this series, and you will be able to see what happened up until this point. So let's go with Didi and Makoto. Alright, I need to text someone real quick, so give me a second. While you're waiting, you guys can get ready to leave. I acted like it was no big deal, but I was actually a bit nervous about hanging out with them.
Hi!
As Didi left to get her bag, Makoto gave me a sly smile and went back to her seat. There was a deeper meaning behind that smile. I'm not completely oblivious, so I could tell that she liked me. Now then, I needed at least to respond to that text. Got other plans right now, so I'm gonna have to decline. Sorry. I typed a one-line response, and then just stared at it without pressing send. Even if that was my answer, the thought occurred that I was really living in the lap of luxury, and I could turn down two beautiful young women like Michiro and Misaki. Wait, one of them is my own sister. Here goes. Be a man! Reaching my final decision, I pressed the send button. The phone sent a text message with a practical efficiency that seemed to say, I don't give a toss what you decide. Jeez. Not being indecisive about things like this is such a pain in the butt. Didi latched onto my arm, just like Michiro always did when we were walking to school in the morning. The Michiro wouldn't press her chest into my arm. That's probably because you've been glued to Michiro lately. Well, about that, she's gotten it into her head that you spend too much time with me. Then we'll all die together or something. That phrase naturally seemed to escape her as she cocked her head in confusion. Personally, I'm okay with this. Makoto pouted and averted her eyes. Was that a hint of jealousy she showed us now? Where you can play house? Or maybe on a hole? Would you rather play house? Would you rather play strip maho? I had no expectation that they'd actually want to play house or maho. Since Didi was a guest of mine, in a way, I turned to her. Didi? Is there anywhere in particular you want to go? Dee Dee seemed to be pondering it over as she responded. She took a glance around at our surroundings.
このスクールのそばはあまり知らないかもですね。近所すぎてみんな案内しようって思わないのかもね。海しかないけど。海でのんびりするのもいいと思います。
Dee Dee, being the type to go along with suggestions on the spot, dragged me along to the beach. The sand's probably hot right now. That's summer for ya. Passing by the monorail station on our way out of school and walking down the embankment, we soon came across the beach. The UK has the North Sea, doesn't it?
日本海も渋いけどね。海の青さも感動的ですが、こんなに気持ちよくスカイが晴れることも少ないです。イギリス人は一日に何度も天気予報を確認するっていうね。晴れが恋しいのです。
That reminds me. Have you guys been getting along lately? Lately, Makoto has been spending her time with me after school, but she was acting like she'd gotten to know Dee Dee a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to figure out whether two girls are friends or not. But Dee Dee's answers cleared up my doubts right away.
誠さんは授業やスクールのライフについてよく教えてくれます。そんな感謝なんていらないよ。困った時はお互い様だもん。
I see. So Makoto wasn't hanging around with her after school, but rather helping her in more practical ways. That sense of obligation was definitely befitting of Makoto, I think. Of the Makoto I knew. Dee Dee, aren't you getting hot from clinging onto me? You felt pretty nice, but it was definitely getting a little too hot for comfort.
暑いですが、なんだか離れづらくて。どうしちゃったの？ご主人様と話をするのが久しぶりで、こうしてるのがハッピーだからでしょうね。
I'd say that's a perfect assessment of her true feelings.
海外の人だからなのかな。
Makoto Jinochi, the poster girl for traditional Japanese values, evidently disapproved of this kind of physical contact. And for some reason I didn't understand. She then put her hand on her own chest. It was like she was thinking, if I were clinging to him like that, wouldn't my chest be touching him? In all honesty, unlike when Chiro would do this, I could hardly feel Dee Dee's chest on my arm. Then Dee Dee suddenly let go of me without any pretense. I watched as she circled around an utterly oblivious Makoto. What's she doing? I thought she'd be doing that. Just had a feeling. It happened so quickly I could barely believe it. While Dee Dee's face remained stony, she grabbed Makoto by the chest. Wait, this is an important distinction to make, so let me rephrase that. It wasn't just her chest, it was her boobs. Dee Dee's fingers dug into the flesh of Makoto's soft, ample bazongas. Machido's might be larger in terms of sheer size, but Makoto would be the clear victor when judging on shape and perkiness. Surprise and embarrassment were written all over Makoto's face as she screeched hysterically. Hey? Given those words of genuine praise, I couldn't help but retort. As Dee Dee rubbed and massaged her breast, Makoto's moaning took on an air that wasn't one of pain or humiliation. If I try to pull her off you, then my hands will obviously have to touch your... She seemed to be getting angry. Suddenly, Makoto furrowed her brow. And then? Makoto's face suddenly became devoid of expression. Oh crap, I don't like where this is going. The thought instantly occurred to me that I needed to put a stop to this, but... I was a second too slow. Makoto. Your ID is showing? Makoto immediately clammed up, and Didi was still frozen in place with shock. Of course, it was a situation where you couldn't just deny it happened. I could have used my pocket watch to mend the situation a little better, but things were getting interesting, so I wanted to see a little more. All the power went out of Didi's arms, giving the crying girl a chance to escape from that little massage. Even while Makoto was trying to change the subject, Didi was so curious that she couldn't help but continue to press it. I wonder myself. Since this whole charade was related to Makoto's secret, I couldn't answer her question. Are you out of your mind? I get why you're panicking and all there, but given the circumstances, I think you can trust her to keep your little secret. If we leave Didi in the dark about it, she might end up asking around about Makoto at school. I don't blame her for hesitating there. Makoto thought about it for quite a while, and then she gave a deep breath, or a deep sigh. You're cool with it? Well then, Didi, do you know about the Yakuza?
Yes!
Makoto's family is a Yakuza sect in this town, so Makoto's basically a gangster's daughter.
Huh?
Didi cocked her head to the side, unable to understand right away. Makoto being a gangster's daughter is basically her little secret, so she doesn't want you to tell anyone else about it. If telling her about this was going to make her afraid of Makoto, I was prepared to smash my pocket watch and undo it all. However, Didi's reaction was completely different from what we expected. Didi let out a joyful cheer. Huh? That's what you reacted? Isn't British chivalry more like Bushido? I don't think it refers to gangsters over there.
忠誠を誓うのが王様か親分かの違いだけだよ。
Are all the girls I know tragic sufferers of the stupid virus or something?
じゃあ DD さん、任教がわかるなら私の秘密は守ってね。 Don't worry.
Judy pounded her chest, which seemed lacking in comparison to Makoto's with her fist.
私はマウスが固く、どんな秘密も漏らさない鉄壁の女とイギリスでは呼ばれていました。
Funny that. You took less than a minute to blurt out the secret I wanted you to keep.
あれはご主人様がゴーサインを出したからです。
That's not how I remember it.
ちょうどいいです。誠さんからジャパニーズヤクザの素晴らしいところを聞きたいです。任せて。
So what do I do now? I raised my hand and asked, since it seemed like it was going to be a very weird extracurricular lesson.
ご主人様もお話を聞きますか?
I get the feeling she'd have some really crazy stories, so I think I'll have to decline. Unlike Didi, who evidently has to return to her home country, Makoto and I were permanent residents of the city.
じゃあ今日のところはレイ君は帰っててもいいと思うよ。そうですね。
Huh? That just sounds kind of depressing. Even if they put aside my romantic prospects, it would be sad if I was the only one let down.
じゃあ話が終わるまでその辺で待ってる?
Gladly. I walked off to the side to put distance between me and them, and thought back on everything. Then I picked up a stick and started digging in the sand with it. While Makoto and Didi were happily chatting away about chivalry and the Yakuza, I decided to build myself a sandcastle. Soon the sun began to set. I finished my magnificently decorated 3-story castle. Returning home after we parted ways with Makoto, Judy started waxing lyrical about what they talked about. 主人様も誠さんの興味深い話を拝聴すればよかったのに。Even if I could turn back time, I wouldn't change my decision. Judy suddenly let out an inopportune sigh. What's wrong?
Sorry. 少しはしゃぎすぎて疲れましたね。
Are you okay?
Hi.
Here. Even if she said she was okay, I still held up my hand to her all the same. Machida would say I'm too reckless. I held Didi's hand as we slowly walked home. The guide was slower than usual. Are you really okay?
Hi.
If it's hard to walk, then you should just say so.
Hi.
If you're just giving me the same answer again and again.
イギリスでは最高位のひねくり者と名高い私です。
I can't tell if you're an honest girl or just a liar.
おや、ご両人。
Another voice joined in. As I wondered where it was, or where she was at now, Crow descended from the sky before us. Are you headed home too, Crow?
別にお主の家が住処ではないのだがな。
Don't say that. That's too sad.
ご主人も我が輩がいなければ寂しいのか。
It'd mean I'd have one less beautiful girl to feast my eyes on.
だほ。
At that moment, I noticed that Didi, who could supposedly see Crow as well, was being strangely quiet. Didi muttered as she stared at Crow. It was easy to tell where she was looking. Her gaze was focused on the same places as me. In other words, Crow's breasts, her neck, and the outline of her shoulders. After all, there's no contradicting human instinct.
やはりご主人様も胸が大きな子がラブなのでしょうか。
How do you expect me to answer a question like that anyway?
重要なことですから。
How do I put this? I scratch my head. Well, I guess you could say that big and small ones both have their advantages.
そうですか。
Dee Dee finally exhaled a deep sigh, as if a massive weight of anxiety had been lifted from her heart.
というか、お主らの会話は心底頭が悪いと思うぞ。
The outsider speaks! I dare say she might be right about that. Now my head hurts.
風邪ですか?
More like a headache. And one caused by idiocy, no less.
今日はゆっくりお風呂に入ってのんびりのんびりですね。
That sounds nice. As I responded to DT, I noticed that Crow was staring at me.
そろそろか。
Crow's murmured words were clearly implying something. Makoto, Michiru, Masaki, and Dee Dee. They're all such lovely young ladies, so it really is difficult. But I need to decide who to confess to. Best 2 out of 4. And then the next dilemma. Best 1 out of 2. Those were Michiru's words to me as she held my hand, just as I had been mulling over how she hadn't asked me to accompany her to school like this in a while. You mean about us going to school together?
それもありますが、それだけではありません。
Well, we've hardly had any chances to do this in the past 2 or 3 days. It was only a few days, but the deviation from our usual routine was quite sizable. Until recently, wherever I would go, Michiru was with me.
お二人ともスクールに行きませんか?
Dee Dee gave us a tepid stare, completely oblivious to our sentimental bonding as siblings. That's right. Michiru, let's get going. I tried to pull her along, but she didn't budge from where she stood. Michiru? Michiru did not respond, instead glancing slightly off to the side of where Dee Dee stood.
ディディさん、少し兄様と二人きりにしていただけませんか? はい、それでしたら今日は私が先に行きます。
Dee Dee immediately left without a hint of inquisition. Haven't we talked about this before?
物事をうがって見すぎです。
Michiru said this with a sigh.
ディディさんにはメイドとして主の命令には絶対服従ということを教え込んでいるだけです。
I don't think that's exactly right. What Michiru's trying to do now, anyway. Dee Dee's only an overseas guest here for a homestay. Anyway, was there something you wanted to talk about?
話をしなくてはいけないのは兄様の方だと思います。
Me?
最近の兄様の行動について妹に話しておくべきことがあるのではないですか?
Oh. So that's what it was. I would hesitate to tell anyone else, but I don't want to hide things from Michiru. I looked Michiru in the eye sincerely. I've been thinking about getting a girlfriend. Seriously thinking about it.
ですよね。ミュウさんとの出来事からそういう気配が濃くなっていましたし。
I'm not gonna completely ignore you, but if I do get a girlfriend, then I might have to prioritize spending time with her instead of you.
わかりました。はっきり教えてくださったのでしたら邪魔もしませんし、むしろ応援いたします。
Is that alright with you?
私のことだからもっとわがままを言うかと思いましたか?
Well, maybe it would have been kind of cute.
あら、それならわがままを言えばよかったですね。
Michiru finally managed to show a weak smile. Sorry, Machiru?
いいんですよ。私の幸せは兄様の幸せですから。でも
Machiru spun her parasol round and round.
よくできた妹って損ですわ。
なんだかな。
Every time we had a break in class, I would catch Shuji glancing sideways at me while mumbling under his breath. What is it?
なんだよじゃね
Well, I guess so. I knew all too well what Shuji was insinuating. Every time we had a break in class, Didi would prance over to my seat and cling onto my arm. Even if she was the subject of my classmates' interest, they, like Makoto, still saw things through the lenses of their own social mores. These energetic approaches of hers made them stare at me so hard that I could feel it. Didi, I've already asked you not to be this clingy with me when we're in class.
教室じゃなかったらいいのか
Of course.
欲望に素直なやつめ。
ご主人様は小さいのも好きだと分かりましたからね。
何の話だ
Don't push that conversation. You're gonna make me look even worse.
元から最底辺の立場なら悪くなりようもないだろう。
Screw off. Well, I did tell Didi I liked them small too, but I didn't expect her to get so attached to me after that. Did I do something wrong? Not only that,
あの
in addition to Didi's own change in personality, Makoto also started coming over to my desk during breaks.
ディディさん、あんまり教室でそういうことしない方がいいと思うんだよね。どうしてですか？え？レイ君も迷惑してるかも。ご主人様は迷惑してますか？
I can't really move like this, but it feels nice. For some reason, Makoto glared at me instead of Didi. Makoto certainly was more strict in her own social mores than my other classmates, so the situation probably intolerable to her.
じゃあ、あんまり男女でくっつかれてると周りのみんながびっくりしちゃうし。びっくりしますか？
さんずいを殴りたくなるな。
Why am I the one being treated like a punching bag here?
可愛い女の子とお調子者がベタベタしてるとき、可愛い女の子の方を毛嫌いするか
Guess not. Point taken.
とにかく恋人でもないんだし、ご主人様と私はいいなずけですから問題はありませんよ。
Makoto couldn't argue with that. What's going on here? Every time Didi came over to my desk, my classmate glared at us, and Makoto came over to question her intent. Considering this happened during every single break period, I guess Didi's goal here must be... Oh, I get it.
何が？
No, it's nothing.
もうレイ君まで。
Makoto stormed back to her seat in a huff.
ご主人様、誠さんもフォローしなくていいのですか？
Didi gave me her big soulful eye routine. I reflexively returned an icy stare. Didi, you're a little devil, you know that?
What?
All this business about clinging to me since yesterday, this has to do with Makoto more than me, doesn't it?
同じ乙女として恋心には敏感なので。
Didi whispered in my ear with a mischievous smile. So that was her goal. However simple a facade she put on, at the end of the day, Didi was still a girl.
誠さんもご主人様に気がありますね。せっかくですから放課後に誠さんと二人っきりになれるようにしましょうか。
Wait. With Didi still clinging to my arm, I dragged her out of the hallway. Out to the hallway. Even then, there were still too many people around. So we headed for the first floor, which usually didn't have very many students around during lunch or before and after class.
どうしました？
Well, you don't really need to worry about me like that.
余計なお世話でしたか？
I felt compelled to give some serious thought to Didi's request. What would my decision be? Oh man. Already? Whoops. Oh man. That's so weird. Like I said, we're going the Makoto route, but for some reason I'm like... I don't know. Okay, Makoto. I'd like to be alone with Makoto. Well, it would be nice if you helped me out. Giving her my honest answer, I scratched my cheek. Even so, it would be better if you stopped clinging to me in front of other people. You're making Makoto get mad at me too. That's the way it is. Besides, I briefly hesitated, pondering over whether to continue my train of thought here. Well, it might have been easier to say if I didn't say it, but I had to be clear here. I've decided to get serious about Makoto, so you really shouldn't be cuddling up to me, even as a joke. You do know what I'm getting at here, right? I wanted Edie to be completely clear on the fact that I had chosen Makoto, not her. I couldn't help but crack a smile. If Didi is happy to help me out here, then I'll take her up on it. Yeah? I suppose you could do that much for me. I'll give it my all as well. I knew Makoto's phone number, so I could have asked her myself, but Didi made quite a generous offer, so I didn't want to decline it. No, not everything. That's probably pushing it. Soon enough, the school day ended it once more. I waited in the empty homeroom as Didi had told me to, finding myself spacing out somewhat. Will this really turn out alright? Didi and Makoto left the classroom together earlier, but it had now been 10 minutes since then. I found myself fidgeting with the pocket watch, having nothing better to do. Turning back time by 5 minutes would only have prolonged the wait after all. Then Makoto came into the classroom. Yeah. So what brings you back here anyway? I had mentally prepared myself for this, so I answered her quite normally. Makoto tilted her head as she spoke. Oh. So that's it, huh? Didi, come on. This is too obvious. Didn't I tell her not to push it before? Well, I told her I'd give it my all as well. So give it my all I shall. Yeah. That thing she left behind... I think she meant me. I kinda wanted to talk to you, so Didi helped me out with that. Makoto finally understood what I was saying, and a shy smile appeared on her face. True, but weirdly enough, Didi offered to do it for me. Makoto looked a bit nervous. I was pretty nervous too. It was just the two of us, alone in the classroom at the end of the day. Besides, I did say I wanted to talk about something, so the nervousness was mutual. Makoto and I had grown a lot closer recently, especially since the time we went on that date. Well, it's not all that important. What should I do? I decided that Makoto was the girl I liked the most, but I wasn't entirely prepared to confess my feelings to her on the spot. But if I had the power to turn back time, why wouldn't it be worth a shot? Perhaps I could have waited for a better mood, but I had a bit of a hunch that she might very well accept me. I was seriously going to give it a shot, but then I started overthinking things again. While arguing with myself over what to do next, I fitted it with the pocket watch. Makoto suddenly raised her voice. That? Yeah, I guess your vision's pretty sharp. Though when I was in class, I didn't really touch it much at all, since there wasn't much reason to.
私の席教室の後ろの方だし、たまたまレイ君何やってるんだろうなーって。
It's just a little souvenir my grandmother used to have. Kind of like something you could find when cleaning out a cellar.
レイ君のおじいさんって言ったら沢渡の創業者じゃん。結構値打ち物？
Huh? She had a point. I never thought of it for its imbued powers of time. I'd only ever thought of it for its imbued powers of time, so its potential monetary value had never crossed my mind at all. While it was more of an added bonus to me, maybe this watch could have been decades or even centuries old. Some sort of antique. Now that you mention it, this might be a pretty valuable item. Makoto's eyes sparkled. I know you love cute things, but are you into this kind of stuff too?
うさちゃんって言ったら人参か懐中時計でしょ?
Don't you just mean the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland?
そうじゃなくてもアナログなものの方が私は好きだしね。
I imagine your definition of old-fashioned has a lot more to do with an old-fashioned way of life, or old-fashioned kinds of weaponry, though.
何か言ったかね？沢渡の御曹司くん?
No, absolutely nothing at all. I almost went and summoned the bona fide Makoto there.
蔵か。蔵はうちにもあるな。
Well, I'm hardly one to talk, but if your home has a cellar, you really must play some kind of rich girl.
お嬢様っていうか、うちだと私はお嬢だけどね。
Right. What a moment of clarity that was. I suppose that kind of family would call their sons boy as well.
あの蔵、刀とか鎧があるのは知ってるけど、他にも結構やばい。もっといい。面白そうなものありそうだな。よし、ちょっと漁ってみよう。
Huh? Going home already?
なんか面白そうなものが見つかったら、レイ君にも教えてあげるね。
Makoto was practically bursting with excitement as she bid farewell and dashed out of the classroom. I'd almost tried to call after her, but I didn't have any idea what to say. The conversation got a little sidetracked, and as a result, Makoto's attention got focused on something different. I mean, she'd rather go looking for treasure than have a conversation with me? Talk about standing a guy up. No. More like she's still 7 shades of green about love and romance, as if it were anyway. Fidgeting with the pocket watch, I thought about turning back time by 5 minutes, but I guess I wouldn't be prepared either way. Even if Miu gave me advice, she couldn't fully prepare me for something like that in such a short time.
考えるのではなく、感じるのです。
Yeah. But I still can't just keep dilly-dallying around about it either. I'd seriously intended to confess to Makoto today. So there's always tomorrow. Yeah. Might as well make tomorrow the day where, for the first time in all my life, I get to say the words, "I'm in love with you," to a girl. And so... this is Makoto. So just, "I like you" would probably work better. She'd probably tell me it's unmanly to say too much or something. Good. Wait, if that's seriously all I needed to say, I should have just done it today. Lying on the always cool even in summer tatami and counting the lines in the ceiling, I reflected on today's events. Well, I can't change the past by regretting it like that.
5分以内であれば、腹水も盆に帰るがな。
Crow appeared with a flourish.
一人でブツブツと何をしておるのだ？欲求不満で、ついに幻の恋人でも生み出したか。
If I really did that, I doubt it might be much different from having you around.
相変わらずお主は失礼だな。
I was thinking about how to confess to Makoto.
なんだ、ようやく腹を決めおったか。
Kept you waiting, huh?
どうでもよいがな。
Quit being apathetic.
いや、真面目に我が輩にとってはどうでもよいのだが。
That was a joke too, you know. Playing conversational dodgeball with a girl like this was pretty fun. If you wouldn't mind, maybe you could be my partner and help me practice my confession.
おい、我が輩を使って何をするつもりだ。
Crow glared at me with a hint of revulsion. If you just stay there, then you don't need to do anything else.
我が輩は巻きわらではないのだぞ。
Not that. The important part is you have a girl's appearance. Even mock confessing to you would be embarrassing. Hence why I need you to be my partner so I can overcome the embarrassment.
あのな。ん？
Crow suddenly broke the flow of the conversation and glanced around the room. What's wrong?
いや、なんだ。
Crow floated out of the room without answering my question. She hadn't acted like this before, so I followed along to see what was up. Stepping out into the garden, I noticed Crow seemed to be suspicious of something. Did you notice something? Crow nodded, but I still had no idea what that something could have possibly been. I'm not hearing or smelling anything weird, though.
そういうものではない。人間相手には表現しづらい感覚の話だが。言うなれば、そう。オーラじゃ。
You were acting suspicious enough already, and the way you said that isn't helping me shake that impression.
うさんくさいのはお主だろうが。
I'd rather you said perceptive, myself. I shrugged my shoulders. Would you say it's like a premonition or something? Because that sounds kind of cool.
感覚的には近いが、人のそれとは違い、もっと確実なものなんだがな。まあ、もう感じ取れなくなってしまったか。ところで、我が輩相手に告白の練習など。
Hey, hold it. I really do want to know what's out there, so don't change the subject on me.
終わった話を気にするでない。
No, no. Of course I'd be concerned about it.
妙な気配を感じたというだけのことで、それ以上のことはわからんよ。
A voice other than Crow's rang out. It was Dee Dee. She was walking down the path from the main house in her school uniform, headed toward the garden where we were standing. Welcome home, Dee Dee.
ただいま戻りましたが、ご主人様とクロさんはここで何をしていますか？こやつが我が輩に告白をしようとしていたところだ。What？ どうしてそうなったですか？
Don't just say the word. Don't just leave out the word practicing like it's meaningless.
似たようなものだろ？
No.
まあ、クロさんはふわふわキュートですからね。あれ？というよりご主人様、誠さんと一緒ではなかったのですか？私よりスピーディーにお帰りだとは思いませんでしたが。
The innocent way Dee Dee asked that made it hurt even more. Well, Makoto had something to do, so she had to go home right away. Sorry for making you go out of your way to help me.
私に sorry はいりませんが、それが残念ですね。
Well, I can still tell her how I feel tomorrow.
いいですね。明日というのは素晴らしいものです。
I wouldn't go breaking out the champagne and parties just yet, though. Dee Dee's sunny optimism was precious enough that I couldn't help but smile back at her.
おっと、トーキングしていてはいけません。お夕飯前で忙しい時間ですし、私はメイドさんしてきます。
Dee Dee trotted off toward the main house again. She's such a good girl. So what were you saying earlier, Crow?
何か妙な気配がしたというだけだ。
Right. Is it something bad?
そんなことはわからんよ。いや、未来であろうと離れた場所のことであろうと、我が輩の力で分かってもいいのだか。
Crow glanced at me, but I just shrugged my shoulders. I guess I don't really want to know the future. I mean, if there's ever been a story written about knowing the future where everything is all sunshine, lollipops and rainbows, from beginning to end, I certainly haven't heard of it.
賢明だ。
I suppose time travel is another way to see the future, but if something really bad ended up happening to me, I wouldn't be able to do anything. Then the smartphone in my pocket vibrated. One new message from Makoto.
ちょっと来て。モノレールの駅前。
What's this? I hadn't received any text from Makoto since our last date, and I'd never gotten this kind of message from her before. While she used exclamation points in the message, I couldn't really tell from her wording if she was angry or excited.
お主、何か誠を怒らせるようなことでもしたのか？
Crow, having peeked at the message on my phone, tilted her head in curiosity. I gave her a serious look. I sure hope not.
まあ、お主がどうなろうが、我が輩のしたことではないがな。
Parting ways with an unsympathetic Crow and gazing at the setting sun, I briskly walked over to the monorail station. I didn't remember doing anything to anger Makoto, but assuming she was mad, the thought of keeping her waiting was terrifying. Arriving at the station, I stared to keep my eye out for Makoto.
ご主人様。
Oh, Dee-Dee.
はーい、DD です。
What brings you out here? Did you need to make a quick run out to get ingredients for dinner tonight?
そうそう。
Maybe if you told me earlier, I could have stopped and got them myself. Though, come to think of it, I don't even usually help out with dinner, so I guess you wouldn't have thought of that. If Makoto hadn't called me out here, I would have wasted time in my room until dinner was done. Speaking of which, Makoto wasn't there. I was a little relieved. I guess I got here before her.
誰かを探して、ますか？
Yeah, Makoto called me out here. Huh? Something wasn't right. Even if this was just an ordinary conversation, why was Dee Dee all the way out here anyway? Dee Dee, were you just at the house?
え？あ、そうだったかもです。
Huh? I left for the station the instant I got Makoto's text, so how on earth did she manage to get here before I did? Did you run all the way here?
じゃなかった。違いますよ。
Did you take a shortcut I didn't know about or something?
まあ、あまり気にしないでください。それよりご主人様、誠さんに呼び出されたんですよね。
Yeah.
誠さんのこと、どう思ってます？
Oh, well, I'm definitely interested in her. Why was she that surprised about it? I told you about that at school earlier, didn't I? Did you not understand what I was getting at after all?
い
Yeah?
や。ダメだ。やっぱり笑っちゃうや、これ。
Dee quickly glanced around wearing a sly grin. And then?
イエーイ！
What? Huh? Makoto appeared before my eyes without any warning. No, wait a minute. Did Dee Dee just turn into Makoto?
びっくりした？びっくりした？
Makoto tilted her head to the side and giggled at me. So cute. Definitely cute, but... What's going on?
メールとか電話で説明しても信じてもらえないと思って実演したんだけどね。実はうちの蔵でレイ君のと似た懐中時計を見つけて、それで変身できるようになっちゃったの。リアルに魔法だよ。ファンタジーだよ。
A watch?
ほらこれ
Before I could fully comprehend what was going on, Makoto pulled out a pocket watch in question. It looked exactly like the one I had, Chrono's clock. I reflexively felt at the pocket watch of my pants, but Crow's pocket watch was still there, which meant Makoto had a second one. Crow?
黒
Oh, nothing. I mumbled her name without thinking, but I received no response. From the start, if Makoto's watch had the power of transformation, Crow wouldn't be the guardian of it, so must have had a different sort of god inhabiting it. Yeah. I was a bit surprised at first, but I quickly regained my senses. I guess it wouldn't be all that weird if there was two watches like this. It was magic, after all.
やっぱり実際に目にしても夢とか手品だとか思ってる
I'd been silent for a moment while wondering about her own watch, but I should have known that would make her a little worried. No, I believe you. You used magic to transform back there.
意外とあっさり信じたね
I just didn't fully understand what I saw for a moment, so that's why I was so quiet. I didn't want her to know about my ability to turn back time, so I figured it was best not to bring up my own watch again.
レイ君ならそんな反応だよね
Well, I'm a pretty easygoing guy.
そうそう私の家のことも受け入れてくれたし器が大きいのかも
Well, maybe with you, but it's not like I can be tolerant of everyone else's idiosyncrasies. Putting that aside, transformation, huh? I half-heartedly brought up that subject again. Makoto's eyes were sparkling with excitement.
自分でもリアルに魔法なんて使えちゃってびっくりだからレイ君にいろいろと相談しようと思ったんだよ
I don't mind if you want to trick me every once in a while either. You won't hurt my feelings.
うんそれもある
But no one else besides me, okay? Makoto?
一回はやってみたいじゃん
Be a good girl. Besides, it's not really all that useful of a power for day-to-day life.
そうだね
Even while Makoto had been so excited she couldn't keep still, she calmed down and conceded my point pretty
で
quickly.
も魔法で炎とか出せてもそれはそれで困るでしょ
If you could shoot black flames, I bet you'd win the hearts of Chunibu the world over.
かっこいいとは思う
No, wait. Could I become a woman with that transformation power?
すごい真顔でつぶやいてるところ悪いんだけど何度か試してみたけど異性にはなれないみたい
What a worthless piece of crap.
あと人間以外にはなれないし服を全然違うデザインには変えられないんだよね
Aren't you ignoring the most important question?
女装でもしたら
Makoto said with exasperation. Knock it off. You're gonna make me actually want to try that.
冗談だったけどレイ君は結構似合うかもしれないね
Why does everyone keep telling me that? Never mind that. Incidentally, am I right in thinking that you have to break the watch to transform?
え壊しちゃダメでしょ
Oh, I guess not. So it must have a different way of triggering its power from Crow's watch.
今は周りに誰もいないからいいかなこのつまみの部分をひねるとこんな感じで自由自在レイ君の知り合いで制服でいける子だとこんなメンバーが分かりやすいかな
Whoa, you can even turn into Machiro? Come on, don't scare me like that. By the way, can you still see when you turn into Machiro?
大体のスペックは私のままっぽい
So that thing really is a one-trick pony. If she could use another person's physical or mental capabilities, then that would have been quite a useful power to have.
レイ君ならなんか面白い使い道を思いついてくれるかなって思ったんだけどな
Makoto turned back to her normal form, then gazed at me with such worry that it almost felt like a joke. I was thinking about it while we were talking, but aside from pranks, that watch would be practically useful for anyone other than a criminal or detective who'd want to conceal their identity, wouldn't it?
なるほど。犯罪者。
Huh? You really want to rob someone?
A 君は私をどんなキャラだと思ってるのかな?
A girly girl strong enough to whoop anyone's butt? Though I was too scared to say that out loud. Well, it's just that you reacted to the word criminal.
そうじゃないよ。むしろ逆のことを思いついたの。これがあれば私だってことを隠したまま流れのヒーローになれるかも。
Huh? A superhero?
ほら、時代劇とかヤクザ映画とかで騒ぎが起こってる場所にふらりとやってきて事件を解決していく凄腕の人とかいるでしょ。小林明さんとか宍戸城さんが出演してる渡り鳥シリーズとか超名作じゃん。
Who are those guys?
レイ君、どこの国の人なの？
Last time I checked, the same one as you.
じゃあいつの時代を生きてるの？
Last time I checked, probably not the Showa era. Besides, if we're talking about someone who conceals their identity to solve crimes, isn't that more like Mito Komon?
ああ、それがあったか。
Good. Glad to know there's at least one creative work we both know about. Well, I understood the basic idea of what she was trying to tell me, though I didn't understand anything outside of that.
日常生活での使い道がないなら逆に使い道のある日常生活から離れたところに行けばいいってことさ。
It sounds to me like you want to intentionally put yourself in danger.
虎穴にいらずんば孤児を得ず。
I feel like you're trying to say you can't clear a minefield if you don't step on a few mines, though. Owing to her family circumstances, I suppose Makoto probably experiences things that aren't typical of most people's normal lives.
まあまあ。レイ君に相談して正解だったね。
By the way, does that transformation magic have any side effects?
副作用？
Makoto's eyes popped open. Having gotten so excited over suddenly having a strange new power fall into her hands, I guess she'd never considered any possible drawbacks. Well, you look fine to me, but aren't the potential side effects of the price you'd have to pay for those kinds of powers or something to be concerned about?
そっか。全然考えてなかった。
Makoto anxiously fidgeted with the watch. I guess I could ask Crow about that later. Then suddenly, Makoto disappeared. Huh? What the heck was that? I glanced around hastily, but Makoto really wasn't anywhere nearby. She hadn't transformed into someone else. Perhaps she turned invisible or something, but while I was thinking that, I noticed her clothes were lying on the ground in a heap. Did she evaporate or something? While I was standing around panicking, unable to do anything else, my phone started ringing. I immediately answered it on instinct.
レイ君、瞬間移動もできた。
Makoto?
ああ、これ家の電話ね。
Never mind that. Did you say teleportation?
そうそう。なんか副作用とかあったら怖いな、家に帰りたいなって考えながら時計をいじってたら瞬間移動したんだよ。
So that one watch has two different powers within it?
ちなみに裸だったけどね。
Tell me more.
正直でよろしい。今は全裸にシーツだけかぶって電話中だよ。
Makoto getting this excited in these types of situations is definitely one of her charms. So cute. Then I looked at the uniform she was just wearing. She really was just wearing that. Putting aside the jokes, is there anything wrong with your body? Are you okay?
多分大丈夫だと思うよ。胸も大きくなったり小さくなったりしてないし。
So every centimeter of you made it home safely then.
今の発言に対して思うところはあるけど、とりあえず私の制服とかお財布を回収しておいてくれないかな。
Sure. Right. I guess I would have to take care of this stuff for her.
あともう夕飯の時間になっちゃうから悪いんだけど制服は明日の学園まで持ってきてもらっていい？
You can't come get it yourself? then maybe I could bring it to you later?
うちに夜に私の制服を持って
Alright, on second thought, that is a pretty bad idea. More accurately, it'd be suicide. Then, why don't you come to my house tomorrow morning and change before we go to school?
ミチルちゃんや DD さんと会った時なんて説明するつもり
Well, I think it'd be pretty funny if we told them you slept in my room last night.
魅力的な提案だね
Makoto was always ready to go along with my ridiculous plans.
冗談ばっかり言ってても仕方ないか明日の朝ホームルームの前に学園の屋上で待ち合わせってことで一つ
Sure thing. By the way, if you're worried about a boy like me hanging onto your clothes, then I could give them to Didi.
レイ君以外に魔法のこと知られたくないしまだちょっとやっておこうかな事情の説明
Roger that.
ああ早くご飯に行かないと今日はありがとうまた明日ね
I know it's still early, but have a good night. Before the call ended, I thought of one more piece of advice. Oh, right. We still don't understand anything about that watch yet, so be a good girl and don't try to use it again tonight.
心配されちゃった
She hung up the phone. That last little comment was so cute, a grin crept onto my face. Now then, instead of sitting here grinning, I need to go home before I get caught in the evening rush. Pick up the heap of clothes lying on the ground. They're still warm. I could still feel Makoto's body heat on the clothes she was wearing until a moment ago. They smelled nice too. My heart was pounding, but since my emotions were comprised of 30% fear of looking suspicious and 70% embarrassment about doing something like this, it wasn't the good kind of pounding. I should have brought a bag. In this kind of situation, it would have been nice to have power to teleport myself. I stole back home, ate dinner, and then enjoyed a peaceful night. Thank goodness I didn't run into any cops or friends of mine on the way home. I muttered earnestly to myself as I stared into the closet where I'd hung Makoto's uniform. I'm not doing anything wrong, but just having something like that in my room makes it hard to calm down. I sighed again, but I didn't want to make a habit of that. If I kept sighing, I'd just get gloomy. Maybe I could calm down if I did something else. I wanted to talk to Crow about Makoto's pocket watch, but unfortunately the neat goddess hadn't returned home yet. It'd be nice if that neat actually acted like a neat and slacked off at home all day long. I grumbled and looked at the closet once again. It was a standard girls' school uniform, just like the one Michiro had. Though I imagine if Michiro was in this situation, she would have gladly given me her panties along with the uniform. Wait. I really shouldn't overthink this. Just a girl's uniform and underwear. I chastised myself. Besides, it's not the underwear itself I'd be after. It'd be what's inside of them. Still, her uniform's right there. Are you gonna let this chance slip through your fingers, considering you probably won't have a second one? I can't. I couldn't help thinking about it. These thoughts were perfectly healthy for a growing young man like me. I could snip it. But even if there was no one around to see me, that'd be too perverted. Maybe you should take a picture. No. I should stuff all this in a paper bag or something. Don't want the flood water to burst the dam and make me do something I'll regret. Finding a bag and some packing tape, I opened the closet. The situation almost felt like I was tying up someone I'd kidnapped. Before I put it away, should I fold it up so it doesn't get wrinkled? I hope she doesn't expect a boy to know how the best way to handle a girl's uniform is. After deciding to at least make an attempt at folding it, I took hold of the uniform which I previously just haphazardly balled up. And at that moment, I made an unbelievable discovery. When Makoto teleported, she became naked. While I'd just been lugging her clothes around in a heap until now, there inside the uniforms, blouse, and skirt, hey presto, was her underwear. We've got a burst dam here. At that voice from the hallway, I let out a shriek of absolute terror. I shoved the door to the closet shut as fast as I could, and then, trying to step away from there, I crashed into something, causing a terrific racket.
What?
In the midst of my panicking, I heard Dee Dee's voice from the hall as well.
兄様、無礼を承知ですが、開けます。
The door slid open, and the two of them entered the room.
ディディさん、ひどい音がしていましたけど、兄様はご無事ですか？ご無事というか、フェイスが真っ赤になってます。
Dee Dee glanced at me awkwardly, describing my countenance for the benefit of Machiro and her blindness. I wasn't just blushing. All the blood had rushed to my head, my hairs were standing on end, and I was covered in sweat. Ha 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 ha.
大丈夫ですか？兄様。
I think I just had like 7 heart attacks. I held my chest and wheezed in pain. It hurt.
ご主人様はいくつハートがありますか
？3 of them.
マイナスでございますね。兄様。
Sheila held her hand out in my direction to help my voice, and I managed to take hold of it. I tried to play things down and give the impression that all was well, but she furrowed her eyebrows when she felt my hand.
震えていますね。何があったのですか？
No. Sorry. I was completely lost in my own thoughts, and hearing someone's voice out of the blue gave me quite a scare, that's all. I didn't mention that I had been focused on Makoto's panties. I would die.
そこまでディープに考え事してるなんて、ご主人様はすごいお方ですね。DD さんを基準にしてしまえば、大体の方は考えすぎに分類されるでしょうが。
These two still get along swimmingly, I see. Machiro didn't turn her face away from me. Instead, she firmly squeezed my own outstretched hand.
兄様、もしかしてご自身を慰めていらしたのですか？慰め？何か落ち込んでいましたか？
Machiro's little insinuation soared right over Dee Dee's head. Like I'd ever look someone directly in the eye and answer that question with a yes.
いえ、私が言いたかったことは、一人遊びなどといういい生産的なことをするくらいなら、その慈悲を。
Do not finish that sentence. Even in the midst of my confusion and embarrassment, my quick wit with comebacks was as sharp as ever. I was beginning to regain my senses. So, what brings you here, Machiro? I made sure not to take my eyes off Machiro as I asked her. Even if she's blind, if I carelessly glanced at the closet, she'd probably take notice of that.
妙なことを聞きますが、城之内さんはこの部屋に来ませんでしたか？
Huh?
そんなことはないとお嬢様にお伝えしたんですけどね。
Dee Dee just shrugged. She had run into me right before dinner, after all. What made you think that, Machiro?
考えたというか、匂いがするんです。夕食の時からずっと城之内さんの匂いが兄様から。
Well, I was hanging out with her for a bit after school, so that must be it.
いえ、今もこの部屋でもしてるんです。
Yikes. My brain screamed out again. How could you tell whose scent it is? What kind of dog-sniffing police dog is she?
兄様、何か思い当たることはありませんか？
Yes, I mean no.
怪しすぎてどう判断してよいのか困りますね。
I guess I'd better wheel out my last resort here. Machiro, I have a favor to ask you.
兄様のお願いでしたらいつでもウェルカムです。
You are just imagining things, so don't worry about the scent.
承知しました。ちょろい。
When it comes to asking favors of my sister, her obedience is second to none. Come on, you two need to get in the bath. I'll get in last.
いつも言っておりますが、私はできれば兄様の後の残り湯の方が嬉しいのですが。
That is precisely why I'm getting in last. I sighed and waved my hand at Dee Dee. Dee Dee, see the material for me.
Yes, sir. 兄様、いっそ ちらが後先などと言わず、昔のようにお風呂をご一緒に。
Just get out. I shoved Machiro on the back, forcing the two of them out of the room. For crying out loud.
相変わらずも、あそこまで徹すれば信念だな。
Oh, home at last, I see. I look up to see Crow drifting from the
お
ceiling.
主、以前はみちると一緒に風呂に入っていたのか？
Yeah, until maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, I couldn't just leave her on her own after she'd gone bland, could I? I stopped bathing with Machida when she got accustomed to doing so, or more accurately, when she started perceiving me in a weird manner. More importantly, Crow, I've been wanting to have a little conversation about gods with you.
ようやく我が輩の偉大さに気づいて信仰する気にでもなったか。
No. I took out Crow's pocket watch. Makoto ended up finding another pocket watch at her house, just like this one. On top of that, it gave her powers of teleportation and transformation.
ほう。
Crow nodded, evidently interested in the topic.
昼間に我が輩の感じたおかしな気配は、それか。
Yeah, I guess that had to be what it was.
それで、聞きたいこととは何だ？
Well, I was hoping you'd be able to explain what it is exactly.
だから、我が輩の時計と同じようなものなのだろう。中に入っているのは別物なのだろうが。うん。
Huh? Was that your entire explanation?
何を期待しておる？
Do you know anything about the thing inhabiting the watch? Is there any kind of special wisdom you can impart?
別に何も。
Even if I had a feeling this would happen, she really is useless. Seriously, shouldn't you have at least known that pocket watches aside from your own existed in the first place?
仕方ない。ご主人の独り言に付き合ってやるか。
Crow changed her posture in midair.
本来は、この世界に唯一という希少な品物が複数あるとき、その存在を人間ならどう考えるのだ？
Spares?
なるほど。ただまあ、我が輩の時計は知っての通り、壊れることはないから、予備ではなかろう。
I ended up having to think about it more closely myself, since I'd been expecting Crow to explain it to me. If she's the guardian of the watch and the goddess of time, that would most likely mean the watch I had in my possession was the original. So why would there be another one created? Oh, could it be...
何か思いついたのか？
Maybe it's a prototype? That was the most sensible idea that came to mind. If someone's creating an object of great importance, they'd create a test version of it first before they create the real article.
なるほど。それなら、変身や瞬間移動などというつまらん力も納得がいく。
More than transformation, I'm kind of jealous about the teleportation. That's quite a crazy power to have.
我が輩の力と違い、歩くことで代用できる程度であろうが。
Well, I guess you're right. Crow's watch was truly irreplaceable, which made it a genuine one-of-a-kind item. All the same, I wished I could teleport myself like that. Though I'd much prefer to have the power to fly through the skies myself. Well, now that we know what its origin is, the next question would be why Makoto would have the prototype of your watch lying around her house.
それは特別難しくはないだろう。
Yeah. I suppose ever since my grandfather started the Sawatari company, he always had connection with Makoto's own folks. Perhaps he'd given it to her family, or perhaps it had been misplaced at some point. But since I had no way of proving that, I can only speculate. Maybe, aside from Makoto found at her house, there's a lot more watches like that one out there.
あり得ることだ。
Like, maybe there's 7 of them in total, and someday everyone who has one will form a team, go out to fight crime with their superpowers or something.
ドアホ。
Man can dream, can't he? I guess I can always keep my hopes up. Well, whatever. Crow cleared up a few things, but I still had one last question to ask. This question was one of utmost seriousness. If it really is a prototype, will it have any side effects on the person using it?
わからんよ。その時計に何が宿っているか次第であろう。
I guess so.
よほど誠の様子がおかしければ、また我が輩に相談するがよい。
That'll definitely help.
しかしご主人よ。我が輩以外の時計のことなどより、童貞を捨てるための告白をするのではなかったのか?
Well, I guess so, but even though I found myself tilting my head at that. Why did it come to this anyway?
こういう妙なことが起きるときは、問題がこじれて、本題が先延ばしになることが多いな。
Oh, quit it. I felt a little gloomy at her rather pessimistic words. After I'd gotten so worked up about finding Makoto's underwear, it felt like everyone was raining on my parade now. Although from a moral and ethical standpoint, perhaps that little interruption earlier actually saved me. Now then, I sealed away the uniform, putting an end to the events of the day. On that day, Crow and I still hadn't considered the possibility that the prototype could be called anything else. But it could be called something else. A lemon. Ooh, very interesting. 2 watches. Possibly a lemon, possibly a prototype. Let me save it real quick. Oh. So Makoto can transform and teleport, huh? That could make the rest of this story go any way. There's no way to tell what's going to happen next. So be sure to watch the next episode. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens next. If you made it this far and you made it to the end, you're an awesome person. Also, shout out to the 2 new subscribers. If you guys are still here, I totally know that you appeared. I'm paying attention. Appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. And with all that being said, you guys have a good day, and I will see you next time.